Okay, hi everybody. Sorry for the delay. It gave some time for extra people to come. I like this. I'm not used to people walking in on me. Um, anyway, and this is going to be fun trying to do this in the dark. Uh, what I'm going to do is I'm a jewelry designer. I'm here on the ship to show my work, and it occurred to me after I had been showing for a little while that my work is all about happiness. My jewelry is filled with symbolism about finding happiness. And there's a lot of ways to share happiness besides, direct techniques, step by step techniques. That I'm going to do later. I give a seminar on a step by step how to be happy, but that's for later on. There's something really intrinsically joyful about stringing pearls and making jewelry, and it's not just about pearls. Pearls is the easy technique that I have, but there's just something. If you think about it, every people in every corner of the world and time and history decorate their bodies. People run naked in the jungle and they decorate their bodies. People, they whether it's paint or putting crazy, little holes in their ear or gigantic holes in their ear or tattoos or whatever it is, people love to decorate themselves. There's something that just resonates with us. And the nice thing about doing the pearls. The nice thing about this pearl stringing is the classic technique of stringing pearls is really difficult and it takes years to learn how to do it. But the technique that I've developed is so easy that I can teach you really on your first strand of pearls, you're going to make something beautiful. And it's sort of like if you imagine that that I can put a canvas and a palette of paint in front of you, and right away you're going to be able to just take anything out of your imagination and put it on the canvas. Can you imagine how exciting that would be, not to have to go through the years of perfecting your technique and just to be able to express yourself? That's how much fun it is, doing this technique. And I'll show you the first thing I'm going to show you is the classic technique so you can see what I learned. And by the way, I'm teaching you for free. Cost me $650 to take a pearl stringing class at Gemological Institute. Um, so let's see. So in the classic technique, what you would do is you put a pearl on the strand, and then you tie a knot. And then you have to somehow get this knot really, really close to the pearl. So you take a tweezer, a very long tweezer like this, and you hold the pearl and you pull the knot. And if it's not quite, close enough to the pearl, you have to work it down to the pearl, and then you go and you do the next one. And it's, there are no silly questions. That's a silly question. No, these pearls do. Obviously, the pearls don't come out of the oysters with holes in them. Um, usually, usually when you usually the pearls that you'll buy are sent around the world. Let's say from wherever they're grown in China or Japan or French Polynesia. They're usually sent on strands with holes drilled in them, and the strands are already matched. And we're going to get to that later. Sometimes you don't want the pearl drilled. Sometimes you want it half drilled. If you're wearing an earring or a pendant, you don't want a hole all the way through, so that's called half drilled. And sometimes you might want to set it in a completely different way, and then it wouldn't be drilled at all. Or I like to get them drilled with really thick holes because I love to combine like alternative materials, like the necklace I'm wearing has suede combined with pearls, and then that gives me different options for design. So then you need a really big hole drilled in it, but then the big holes, they break a lot. So, but that wasn't a silly question at all. Um, anyway, so my technique, I didn't like this classic technique because I'm sitting always at the beadboard, hunched over, my shoulders hurt, my back hurts, my neck hurts, and it's difficult. And if you do a whole strand of pearls, and then you can't, gosh, I love doing this in the dark. If you do a whole strand of pearls and there's one little mistake where the pearl's not right next to each other and the knot's not close enough, you have to redo it. And then that means cutting each pearl apart, plucking the little threads out of the strand and then starting over again. And I did that when I was first, I remember I had done this 50-inch strand of pearls, and I saw that I'd made a mistake in the middle, and there's no way to just fix the one, and I really, really wanted to ignore it and pretend I didn't see it, but you can't really do that. Um, so what I do, this is Jane's super easy technique for stringing pearls. Now while I put the pearls on this thread, so I didn't, oh, uh, okay, what I do is I take the thread, and I'll teach you in the class how to measure the thread correctly for what you want to do. I put it through the needle, I double it, and I just make any big old ugly knot. It doesn't matter because it's going to get cut off and thrown away at the end. Okay, she asked what kind of string I'm using. And don't ask me about dental floss. I don't know whether it's with dental floss. Everybody's asking me that. What? I suppose you could use dental floss. There is no perfect material for stringing pearls. I use silk thread. It's the most classic technique for stringing. It sits really beautifully on the neck. But every couple of years, you really should be restringing your pearls. Eventually, it's going to break. I was in a taxi cab years before I was in the jewelry industry. I was in a cab wearing my mother's pearls, and they broke, and I thought that I must have gotten them caught on something. And I picked up the different segments, and when I took them back to her, I'd had them restrung. I didn't know how to string at the time. She couldn't even put them around her neck because I had lost an entire segment of the pearls. And I didn't understand what had happened until years later when I was in the business and I was looking at a strand that no one had ever worn. It wasn't dirty or anything, but it just looked tired, so I thought I'd restring it. And as I was trying to cut them apart, the thread was actually disintegrating in my hands. It was just falling apart. So now when people bring their pearls for me to restring, just to make sure they know what they really need it, I show them. I just break it in front of them, and show them how easy it is to break them. The thread, who here has pearls? Not you, sir? Okay. Um, who has their pearls strung every 1 or 2 years? Every 5 years? Every never? Who here never ever had their pearls restrung? Okay, that's gross. Um, okay, that's what people say. Who here thinks you only wear them once or twice a year, and so that's why they don't need restringing? Okay, every 20 years. Okay, imagine that you have a white silk shirt, because silk is what's inside your pearls, and you wear it once or twice a year, but you don't bother cleaning it because you only wear it once or twice a year, and you put it back in the closet. And then the skin cells and bacteria from your skin grow and multiply in the silk. Did you ever put a dress or a shirt back and you thought it was didn't smell and it was clean, and then you wear it the next day or the next time and you're like, so it's embarrassing. So that's I actually restrung some pearls for some passengers on one ship, and I saved the little bowl filled with the threads that I'd taken out. They were foul. It was like black on some of them and green moldy stuff. You really want to rethread your pearls every couple of years. I wait till mine break too, but that's because I make things, and every time I restring, I think I could have made something new. But don't do what I do. Do what I say. Um, and pearl stringing. Most people tell me they pay about $100 a strand for pearl stringing. So to take my class, you can pay a $75 fee, or you can get $75 worth of stuff, which is a better deal for you. So if you have somebody who's watching your house or watering your plants or feeding your cat or something, how nice to make something for them for the same price that you would have restrung your pearls. And then the second time you string your own pearls, you're already doing better. And then not only that, but giving gifts to people that you made, and to say to someone, oh, I noticed that you wear turquoise all the time, so I made this strand of pearls and I mixed it with this turquoise bead in the center, because it'll go with your, that little outfit you wear. And that's to give someone the compliment of saying, I didn't just take my thoughts and my time, but I really thought about who you are and what you would like, and I made this for you. It's really a nice gift. And another thing that especially some of the men have told me, who here has granddaughters? So a lot of people are telling me that it's an amazing way to get your granddaughters to sit quietly and talk with you. What happens is as you start stringing and threading and you're doing everything, first of all, your hands and your eyes are occupied. So you're not like putting it down and tangling your thread to pick up your cell phone and do a text with your friends and email and so you've got like this part of your brain occupied, but the word part of your brain is still free. And so once you start teaching the technique and you're working with these beautiful materials that are so intrinsically satisfying, conversation starts flowing. And it's a really nice way of, getting to talk to people without that, sit down and talk to me. So I've had a lot of guys take the class for that. Okay, so we were saying the silk thread um, sits really beautifully. It breaks after a few years. Synthetic thread doesn't sit as nicely, doesn't break as easily, but it stretches more quickly. So you really need to restring it more quickly because it doesn't look so nice. The other option for threading is very high-tech wire. I wouldn't use that when I first started because I'm sort of a purist. But if you mix with gemstone beads, the edges of the gemstones are often sharp and will cut the thread too quickly. So I had one customer who had, I stand behind my work, but it wasn't doing her any favor to have to send it to me you know, every few times she wore her necklace. So I started, when I work with gemstones, I string them on wire now. And there's a kind of wire called knottable wire that is a little bit the best of both worlds, is that it's very strong, but you can knot the ends of it so it has an elegant finish. You're not just using the crimping beads, which I don't like so much personally. So in my easy technique, I'm not going to make you watch the whole strand, so I'm just making a short strand. You put more or less the whole strand of pearls, whether you're going to make a necklace or a bracelet. You put that on at once. And then the wire for when you're using gemstones, it's just called beading wire. There's beadalon or knottable wire. Oh, knottable wire, yeah. Um, okay, she asked where you find the thread. The word findings, Findings, means everything in jewelry that isn't the jewelry. So if you Google findings, and you can find, or findings, whatever town you live in, you'll see where to get it. When you take my class, I have pearl stringing instructions, and I give you the names of some places that I go a lot, that you can use. Um, and I give you a list of starting materials. There's just infinite possibilities of what you can get and what you can do with different things. And I'll show you in the class if you want to make earrings, how to use a head pin, how to make a pendant, how to, clump things together and get to it. Like I'll show you all these things, and I give you the materials to get started. Someone. Oh, the class is every C day at 10 and 3. I give a presentation to teach you how to recognize the different costs and qualities, and then I'll give you. We sit down and we just make things. And when I say 10 and 3, that's just a general meeting time for the presentation. But once you buy your materials and you get started, I'm going to be there all day every C day. You just come and go as you please, right outside the shop. You'll see between the main shop and Mirabella. Okay, now what we've threaded, what's called a flex needle, and I'll show you about these. It's just a twisted piece of wire. It's very soft. I can poke myself with it. It's, goes easily through the pearls. Then we're going to use something called French wire, and this is going to be the most confusing to you until you really start working with it. It's basically, it looks like a little piece of wire, but it's hollow. It's kind of like a slinky. And you put this on the thread. Now the reason we use French wire is the place your thread is going to get dirty first and break first is the place that it rubs against the clasp, against the metal clasp. And this little slinky, this piece of French wire, is going to protect the thread, keep it clean, and give the necklace or bracelet a more elegant look to it. Don't go, it gets better. So I'm going to put the French wire and the clasp. Don't drop the needle. Okay. So I put the French wire and the clasp on the thread, and then I bring the first pearl up to about the center of the thread. And again, I'll show you how to do this in the class. And then I start going back through the pearls. Now this is what makes my technique so easy. Because we put the whole strand on first, now instead of one thread we have to tie in a knot, we have two threads. And all you do is tie it like you're tying a shoelace. And you tug the two threads. And it's really difficult not to put the knot in the right place. And the nice part about this is that it's so easy to do. I'm sitting here with terrible light, and I've got really bad eyesight, and I can do it. I taught one lady with glaucoma. She was going for cataract surgery the day after the cruise. She could hardly see anything. It's very easy to do. One lady came and she wanted to learn to string pearls, but she only had one arm. And I was thinking about this technique and whether or not she learned really easily. So it's really, if anybody has a feeling that you're not crafty or you don't know how to do things like this, don't worry about it. And you can do it. Oh my God, I had two guys with the biggest, fattest fingers. I couldn't believe it. They were like 6'6" each. Their fingers looked like giant toes, and they did great. I'm just showing you how easy it is doing the knots. See, as I'm sitting here chatting to you. No. There's just a tiny piece of wire where the thread is connected to the clasp. And all these things I'm going to show you in the class, and it'll be. Pardon? No. She asked if the wire will scratch the pearls. Not only will the wire not scratch the pearls, but a lot of people say, "Oh, I better get really inexpensive pearls to do my first necklace." Not necessary. There's absolutely no reason to waste $50 on pearls that you don't love and you're not going to wear and you don't want to give away when you can, spend $100 on something you adore. So I always amortize the cost per wearing. So if I'm going to get something I really love, I'm going to wear it a lot more. The thread, handling the pearls, it's never going to hurt the pearls. It's actually the oils from your skin are really good for pearls. They do always, people remind you, pearls are the last on and the first off. Meaning, don't put your pearls on until after you did your perfume, your makeup, your hairspray. Don't put your pearls on before that. You don't want to spray those unnatural things on the pearls because it eats away the nacre. But what you do want to do is handle them and wear them. And, pearls, they're natural. They're from a living creature and they need living things around them. If you aren't going to wear your pearls for a long time, don't store them in a plastic bag without any air in a safe somewhere. They'll get dried out and yellowed. But you don't have to, particularly, pardon? You can get, it's not going to bring them totally back to the original color, but you can get like a pearl cleaner or sometimes just a really soft cloth. We had one guest and he really wanted these pearls had sentimental value. Yeah, just take a soft cloth and he just really worked on each pearl one at a time and rubbed it and they came out pretty nice. Okay, so you have a question? I never heard of that. This woman asked about, she was told she had to put oil on her pearls. Uh, are they black Tahitian or black? I think the oils from your skin from wearing them is enough. Okay, let me just go back to this a second. All right, so we've done all the knots except for the last one. I didn't do a knot yet. We're going to do this. Then what you do is put the last few pearls on the strand, and this gives you a chance to double check the length, especially if it's a bracelet. You want it to be pretty precise. If it's a necklace, it's a little more forgiving. So we put the last few pearls on. No, I didn't do knots yet, but I'm going to. Because what happens is, think about it. If we do it right up to the end and then we have to put the clasp, where are we going to hide that last knot? That's going to how do we tie it off? So the way I do that is put the last two couple of pearls, and when I say three, I mean 2, 5, 7, whatever. Um, Now I'm going to put the clasp in the French wire, and now I'm going to go back through the pearl, the one that didn't get a knot yet. Not knot. It's hard to look confusing. I'm going to check just the one at a time because you still want a knot between every one. And then I'm just, oh, my thread's a little bit short. Oops. We're going to just make it with this thread, okay? So I do a knot now, and then I go through one more. Now after I do this, if you guys want, I'll give you an overview of pearls in general and the different types and the names that I think there's some things that people find confusing about pearls. Okay, then when I get to the last one, the very beginning thread is right next to the very end of the thread, so I just tie them together. And I use, for tying, the one place the thread can come unraveled is this last knot. I do a double, and I use a very sophisticated high-tech glue called nail polish, clear nail polish, not red. I don't want jeweler's glue or crazy glue or anything like that because I don't want this to be something that's like never comes out, because then it gets inside the hole of the pearl, and when you need to restring it, then you need to go re-drill it. But it's so just that easy. So I find nail polish, it's enough to hold the thread in place, but it's also soft enough so usually you can use that pearl without re-drilling it. I'll pass this around if you guys want to. Here, actually, I don't know what I'm attached to here. Um, I didn't have any drinks really, but I do think ships would be a good place for alcoholics to hide because everybody walks the same way. So, okay, I'll give you a quick overview of pearls and the different types. If you think about it, what it used to take for, well, we know where pearls come from. Some piece of sand floats into an oyster or mollusk, or some piece of shell breaks off, and whatever it can't expel, in order to protect its body, it squirts nacre on the irritant. Nacre is the material that the oyster uses to grow itself. If you ever notice an oyster has rings the way a tree does, it's because it's constantly squirting nacre on the inside of the shell to make a bigger and bigger shell. So, it grows this pearl, and imagine before scuba equipment and diving equipment, imagine what it took to find these rare gems. And I read one description, I forget what in a novel or something, and the guy goes out in a rowboat and he brings a whole bunch of rocks in the rowboat, and then he ties a rock on a rope on his ankle, and that pulls him down to the bottom, and then he can hold his, I mean, how long can a person hold their breath? Like 30 seconds or 1 minute maybe. If you practice a lot, you can hold your breath 2 minutes. So he goes down and he gets the oysters and he finds the ones with the pearl, and then hopes to cut the rope and get back up to the top to catch a breath, and before he dies, and then ties another rock and goes down again. And so you're collecting these amazingly rare gems. And then imagine before air travel and photographs and telephones and everything, imagine trying to match a whole strand. Yeah, I think it would be near impossible. Even making the graduated are you breaking apart the theater here? So even making a graduated strand, the arm fell off, the chair fell off. So you would, even making a graduated strand would take years to match, because you can maybe get one center pearl and match two and match two and match two. And that's why your grandmother's pearls were graduated, because we still didn't have such easy travel and communication that we could actually get an entire matched strand of pearls. So they were incredibly rare and precious. And then around 1900, Mikimoto got the idea of pearl farming. And that means we're going to shove an irritant into the pearl, and we're going to see if we can make a pearl. And let me sidetrack a minute. Does anybody here has anyone here either had in vitro or know of anyone that has in vitro fertilization? Does anyone you who did? A friend who had in vitro and she had a child? Um, is it a synthetic child? No? Is it less valuable than a child born of a night of drunken debauchery? No. Okay. Pardon? And I'm trying to be good. Um, so think about this child that's born of in vitro fertilization. This is what the cultured pearls are. And there was but in 1900 and even for years afterwards, there was big arguments in the industry about whether or not these pearls were real pearls or not. And they finally came up with the terms natural versus cultured. And I find that those terms unfortunate because they're misleading. And the word natural pearls implies that the other ones are unnatural pearls and implies that they're somehow less valuable. And if you have, the only time I've ever come across a pearl that's found randomly is when someone says to me, I found this in my dinner last night. What should I do with it? I've, there is no more pearl diving industry, and we don't even have to tie our feet to rocks anymore. We can use scuba equipment and sonar and all sorts of equipment to find pearls that occur naturally, but it doesn't pay because they're not more valuable than cultured pearls. So that hopefully clarifies one question that I get asked often. Then there's the different types of pearls. The We're going to take away the idea of better or best or worse because the most expensive pearls are very, very large, deep golden, perfectly round South Sea pearls. But they might be the most expensive, but they're not the best for me because I don't look good in yellow. And I don't like the way big round things look or feel on my body. So if someone gave me some, I would sell them. So I'd be happy, but I wouldn't wear them. They're not the best for me. So let's forget about better and best, but there are things, that give a rarity that give things their cost. And the most expensive are the South Sea pearls that range from deep golden to pale yellow. And they also come in white, but it's a different kind of white than you see in the other pearls. It's a kind of a silvery white, very beautiful. Then the next most expensive are the Tahitian pearls, and we're going to see all those soon. And the next ones are the Japanese Akoya pearls, and then the Chinese freshwater. One of the reasons for the cost is that in the South Sea and Tahitian pearls, they can only grow one pearl per mollusk. The Japanese can grow like 7 to 12, and the Chinese can grow like 50. And the Chinese are not only growing more per mollusk, but they grow them fast. So a comparable pearl in Japan might take 12 years to grow or 10 years to grow, and in China they can grow it in like a year, 2 years, 3 years, 6 months. They're crazy what they're doing. And when I first came into the business in 2001, people were saying, like, at first the Chinese pearls looked like Rice Krispies, Keshi pearls, and everybody was laughing. Oh, they're kind of fun and different, but they're beautiful because they're pearls, and pearls make everybody's skin look wonderful. If you're really pale, they bring out the rosiness. If you're dark and tan, the white looks great again. I mean, pearls look great, and it gave a different pearl look. But everyone said, well, the Chinese don't know how to make round pearls, and then they made round pearls, and then everyone said that they can't make round shiny pearls. And even in 2001 when I came into the business, people were explaining to me the Chinese can't make big round shiny pearls, and now they make big round shiny pearls. So anything that the Chinese are amazing. So not only are they making them much bigger and faster, but they are hardier because the South Sea, Tahitian, and Akoya put a large bead of pearl um, material inside the oyster. And oddly, I think there's only one place in like Louisiana that they can get this certain kind of pearl material, that they can grow them pearl material that doesn't get rejected from the pearls. So pardon? No, the freshwater are the Chinese. This is for the nucleus. This is where they make the nucleus that they're. Oh, the pearls are. Oh, right, right. So they put a large nucleus inside the pearls, and it takes a long time to cover it with nacre. The Chinese put a tiny shred of pearl material, and so it's all nacre. And if you scratch a Chinese pearl, a freshwater pearl, it just goes down to more pearls. So they're really hardy. In French Polynesia, you're also going to see they have a law that they can't sell any pearl that's lower than a C quality. And if you go to Robert Wan, they're the biggest pearl farmers in French Polynesia. They take all the reject pearls and they make curtains. Remember those bead curtains from the 60s? Well, they make them out of pearls. And yeah, and I actually pleaded with them to sell me some of those reject pearls, but it's illegal. They wouldn't do it. And then I found this one woman who's I really like her. She's a really funny character, but she's so dishonorable, and she has all these reject pearls. I have them upstairs. I call them my naughty necklaces. I think they're beautiful in their imperfections and their roughness. But she was telling me that they're B quality, and she was you know so I bought them because I wanted them, but it was funny what she was telling me. I also a lot of the necklaces that I have upstairs, like the one I'm wearing, you'll never see in French Polynesia. You don't see any Tahitian pearls mixed with white pearls because it's illegal to import pearls from anywhere else in the world into French Polynesia. And if you go to China or Japan, you're not going to see Tahitian pearls mixed with their pearls because they just dye their pearls. They're not going to pay the price of Tahitian pearls to bring them over there to do a design. So I try to make things that are, very subtly different, that will just, look very elegant and very casual and still be something you're not going to see on other people. So if you want to pick up some pearls while you're in French Polynesia, and then we can continue doing designs with other things that you get. It'll be truly yours, truly unique. Do you have a question? Oh, the Mabe pearl, yes, is basically it's like the pearl is close to the edge of the oyster and it gets stuck on the side. So while the oyster is protecting itself from the irritant, it's also growing its shell, and the Mabe pearl is stuck to the side. So what they do is they cut they cut it right off the inside of the shell and carve it and set it in something. Yeah, they're and you probably can't see the back of it. It's set into something. You have a question? Oh, that's that's a funny question. She asked, I have some pearls that look like hands, and she asked if it was a virus that caused it. Um, I- the We'll go back to the shapes first, and then we'll go to that. The shapes, I'm going to teach you about shapes. What gives pearls their cost is the size, the roundness, the luster, surface area, and the matching when you get to a whole strand. And so I'm going to show you when we go upstairs how the more and more, like the differences between circled and round and semi-round and perfectly round, and you'll see the jumps in price. And then there's Baroque pearls, which are kind of teardrop shaped. They're rounded on one side and pointed on one side. And those are, I actually, for most things, prefer the more unusual shaped pearls. Now, when you get to these pearls like a hand-shaped pearl, I just saw those for the first time a few months ago, and I gotta think they're putting something hand shaped in the mollusk. I can't believe that randomly all the oysters are suddenly making pearls in the shapes of hands. And you can get square pearls. Pardon, Jeanette? Yeah. Yeah, no. I gotta think. I've seen pearls in the shapes of crosses. I've seen square pearls. So when I start seeing things like that, I think they're putting a different shape inside. People have asked me about the coloring of pearls. Um, all of the different pearl farms are a little bit secretive about their particular technique, but it has something to do with putting some kind of chemical mixture on and then irradiating the pearls. So the color, when you get a dyed pearl, the color is really in the pearl. And other than red, I've never seen a problem with the colors coming off. The red pearls, for some reason, it's harder to get red to stay, and it colors the thread. So when people have bought the red or the burgundy or cranberry color pearls, I just suggest don't wear it with a white shirt until you know what it's going to do. Um, they look, the red pearls are great. You know, you wear them with navy and white in the summer, and it's this gorgeous nautical look, and it kind of gives a flash of color. And at Christmas time, it's really festive and Christmassy. They're really fun. And I have a few yellow dyed pearls downstairs or upstairs, whichever the case may be. And I don't know why, but I've hardly ever seen pearls dyed yellow, so it's kind of unusual. Any other questions? I'm sure I'm forgetting things. That's called a rice. She asked, "What are the pearls that look like rice?" It's called a rice pearl. Now, during my the next part of the presentation, this is what today is what I can tell you from a distance. Um, Really, to teach you all the different shapes and to teach you not just in theory but in practice how to tell the different shapes and qualities. I need to bring you closer and put the different pearls in your hand. So that's why I do this every day at 10 and 3 so people can come in smaller groups. Okay, yes. This lady asked if a rice pearl is different from a freshwater pearl. Yes, because freshwater is the type. So there's South Sea pearls, Tahitian pearls, Akoya pearls, which are from Japan, and the freshwater pearls, which are from China. And then the rice just describes the shape. So then there's different shapes. There's, you know, a lot of people get it's so simple. You know, between this half hour, 45 minutes we've been sitting here, and if you give me another 45 minutes with the actual pearls, I can take all the mystery out of pearls. But it's just so easy because it's step by step and, you know, building on it. If people, a lot of times people come and they'll ask me questions, but the questions are so random that I have to keep backing up and starting over again. You know, the most common confusing question I get is, are these freshwater or cultured? And of course, now you know they're both. You have a go? Okay. Any more questions? Yes, like this. She asked about why the black pearls are different shades and what that means. The Tahitian pearls are known as black pearls. Tahiti is the only place that pearls naturally grow black. They're not really black. They're like the porn book, 50 Shades of Grey. Where's the man who thinks I'm naughty? Um, so, yeah, they come in all different shades. Very rarely are they actual black pearls. They come from a black-lipped oyster, and you'll see around Tahiti they'll have the shells sitting around. Now, whether or not the lips of the oyster make something black, or whether the same thing that makes the pearls gray makes the lips gray, I don't really know the genetics of it, but it comes from a black-lipped oyster. Okay, you wanted to know if it's imperfect, if that means it's a natural Tahitian pearl? Again, the perfection is going to change the price. So there are Tahitian black pearls, gray pearls, whatever you call them, that are perfectly round with perfect surface area, and they're going to be a lot more expensive than the irregular shape. I like the ones with the circles around them that are considered flaws in Tahiti, but I think they're fabulous. You know what happens? If I sit here and if I put a glass of Coke and a glass of Dr. Pepper in front of you, I can describe to you all day long the difference of the prices, I mean the taste, and you're still not going to get it. You'll never be able to recognize Coke and Dr. Pepper unless you taste them. And then it takes you 2 seconds, and then you taste it, and then you understand the difference. So when you come down to my next part of the presentation, I'm going to go step by step just the way I did this, and I'm going to put the pearls in your hands, and I'm going to show you all the different shapes. I'm going to show you what to look for. I'll show you how to negotiate in the shops without offending the people and get better prices. Every day at 10 and 3. So yeah, so we didn't do it today at 10, and then at 3 o'clock, if you come to the shop, they'll show you where I am, and then I'm going to continue, but in a way that I can really. Yeah, I just don't have enough words to tell you how to recognize Coke or Dr. Pepper just with words. So any more questions? Any more questions? No. Okay, so, and this is every C day. Don't worry about whether or not you see it in the program because sometimes they forget to put me in or they, like today, they described it wrong. So just trust me, I'll be there and you can come find me. Pardon? Where the jewelry is, yeah. The presentation takes between 30 and 45 minutes depending on how many people are there and how much talking they do. Then how long it takes you to decide what you want to make. I've got clasps and centerpieces and headpins and earring bits and posts and all sorts of things to help you make things. How long it takes, as long as you want. Yeah, once I do the presentation, then I have the tables up every C day and you come and go as you please and just find, I'm always there. The price of the class is either $75 if you don't want to buy anything and you want to bring your own pearls, or just the cost of whatever you choose. I'm not going to charge you for it unless, it's my time and that takes away from other people. But I discourage people from just paying $75 when you can get the same price of materials. It's better for me if you just give me the money and I don't have to buy any materials, but better for you the other way. Any more questions? Okay. Thank you very much.